Hi there, it's Rachel Martin, and you're listening to Parenting Teens Podcasts. Welcome to Parenting Teen Podcasts. I'm Rachel, and today we are going to talk about the world of overwhelm and looking at some strategies so that you can be a supportive parent when your teenager is going through a moment of overwhelm. It can be massively emotional for them, and it does bring about huge emotional outbursts or risings of big emotions, which teens can find really difficult to deal with. Now, let's be honest, as a parent, it's nothing short of heart-wrenching to see your teen struggle when things are just overwhelming them. Like, all we really want to do is help, but finding the right approach to do that, well, it can be really difficult. So today I want to explore these strategies to help your teenager in a way that will stop you from hovering over them to make sure everything's okay, or from trying to fix it for them so that they feel okay a lot quicker. Because these things aren't the things that are going to help your teen the most when they're in overwhelm. So the first thing I want to look at is relaxed communication somehow. So all parenting coaches I hear talk about communication. Sit and listen to your teen, and they are very right in what they're saying. But one of the things that always gets to me is when your teen's in a situation of overwhelm, sitting and having a one-to-one conversation about that overwhelm, well, it can be quite overwhelming, if I'm honest. To talk about all of it in one go and see how much bad stuff there is around you, sitting face to face with somebody and doing that can be really difficult. So one of the strategies I want you to consider is how to have communication with your teen that isn't necessarily in a one-to-one face-to-face chat. Be it things maybe like messaging them just to have a bit of a check-in, but even silly things like calling them. Now, I know that might seem mental, phoning your child from downstairs to talk to them about how they're doing, or if they want to chat, or just letting them know that you're there. It can be something that's just a little bit different from what you'd normally do. So if you're calling them from the kitchen, it can be less intense for them to talk to you because, well, let's be honest, you're not eyeball to eyeball. And actually, talking over a phone for some teenagers is what they do most often. So it's a way to communicate they feel really comfortable with. And for those who aren't so great with communicating, having a phone call from your mum who you know is downstairs, well, it is just going to make you curious. Like, why are they ringing? So they are more likely to answer, and you can get that check-in through, or you can have that conversation easier. Now, I'm not saying the idea is to trick your teen into talking to you. Please don't take it that way. What I'm trying to say is mix up your methods. Mixing things up can really show them that you're really doing your best and trying every effort you have to let them know that you're there and that it doesn't have to be a sit-down face-to-face conversation for you to support them. Another strategy to consider is making your home a place that is away from the issue of the overwhelm. Imagine you're a teen at school and the overwhelm, as we so commonly see, is tests, exams, or right at the minute, a lot are coming up for GCSEs. Everything in their life at the moment is going to revolve around conversations to do with these exams. With school, it certainly will be with their friends, and their teachers are absolutely talking about it in every single class. And then they come home from school and you're asking them how it's gone. So they recap all the messages they've been told about how the exams are really important, or this up and coming test is important. And you remind them for the need to revise, or that they've got another tutor session tonight. When a teen's in overwhelm, it generally is because there's an awful lot of the same pressure on them, and they're finding it difficult to deal with it. So creating a place that is away from the issue can really help them to just calm down a touch, maybe find a quiet space, and just to feel a little bit more relaxed. By you respecting their boundaries and letting them know that they can come and talk to you whenever they want to talk, you can make your home the calm in the storm of overwhelm. And to create this place of calm, it's reminding yourselves to not ask a million questions about how they're feeling, or remind about the revision that they should be doing, and just be the place that is making sure that they're okay. And be the place where they don't have to talk about it. It will make it more likely that your home will become the place that they will want to talk about it, because it's on their terms. So with your clever communication above, telling them that you're there if and when they want to talk, and you creating a place where they don't have to keep thinking about the things that are overwhelming them, you're already making a huge impact into how your team will begin to deal with this overwhelm. One of the other things to consider is coping skills for overwhelm. Now, usually with this, we look straight to the distractions that can be anything that can give our brain a rest from these emotions that are pumping up from the overwhelm. But there's also a lot of other coping skills that you can look at that can help your teen as well. Things that look at the issue and can make facing the issue easier. Thinking about ideas together of things that would change how difficult it feels to do that thing. And honestly, I mean it, no idea is too stupid when it comes to thinking up these things. When thinking of things that can reduce the emotion, you're looking for things that can use the emotional energy in a healthy way. And I say energy because frustration, anger, and anxiety can cause surges in adrenaline in our bodies. So using that emotional energy in a healthy way can really help your teenager to use a different coping mechanism to shouting or getting from frustrated to angry. And I'm talking about things like punching pillows. Creative expression can be great for this. Musicians and artists use emotions hugely through creating pieces. Even just simple things like laughing will help your teen deal with those emotions. And these are just examples of using that emotional energy in a healthy, controlled way. But also think of the tiny weeny things that can make the actual issue itself better. Let's take that exam overwhelm as an example again. What makes that feel better for them? So for instance, revision will help them feel more confident. Maybe in the last few classes leading up to the exams, they should be paying a bit more attention, maybe. These are ideas your team might well come up with. And you could add things like making sure you're resting properly. And you need to keep up with any kind of self-care things that make you feel better. And if it's going to help, let's look at rewards that we can put in for revision or listening in class. Or let's take a different example and say they're overwhelmed with school. And so you ask, well, what can make this better? Your likely first response you're going to get back is, well, no school. And you've got to take this as a viable idea. Now, I know it's not how it's going to end up, but I said earlier, no idea is too silly. So from this, one of the things that I'll do with my teen clients quite a lot is if they're looking for a time when there is no school, then let them know how far away that is. So for my teenagers in year 11, it's not uncommon that we'll count how many days they've actually got left until they finish. For those in year 10, it will be months. And they're really surprised with how many months are left compared to how many they've already done. For those in year 7, 8 or 9, I'll usually break it down until the next half term, the next time when they don't have school. So you're helping them to use their example of what would help and trying to make it into a bit of a reality for them. This example really can help with the, oh, it's going to take forever before I finish school. Another thing worth doing is making sure that whatever the overwhelm is, you know the detail. So for someone who doesn't like school, there's an awful lot to school not to like. So getting to the detail of what that is can really help them to understand how to help themselves. So let's just say they don't like the amount of people at school. It's really busy and I'm not very confident in talking to anybody. So now you can look at ways that could maybe help that. Look at ways to keep calm in crowds. Or look at ways that maybe you could begin to talk to people in class. Maybe your first step is just to make eye contact with some people on purpose. But looking for these things that can bring back just a drop of hope that it isn't going to be like this forever, and that it is changeable, and that they can take some control is exactly what you're after here. And you can provide all the support, maybe some resources to help them to do this. But I cannot stress enough, it's really important to let them take the lead in finding what might work best for them. So these are just some ideas that you can use to help your teenager if they're feeling overwhelmed. But for you, it's important to remember that parenting a teenager is not about being perfect. And I mean that in that you are not trying to be a perfect parent, and you cannot create a perfect life for your teen either. For you, it's about being present and supportive for them in a way that they understand that you're there. So by trying to implement some of these strategies, and by understanding the challenges that your teen is facing, you can create a really supportive environment for them, where your teen can feel heard, they can feel understood, but most importantly, they feel loved. And those three things are so key in helping in any overwhelming situation. So that's all I wanted to share for today's episode. I didn't want to share too much and send you into overwhelm, but I do want to say thanks for tuning in. I hope you'll join me again, where I'll explore some more tips and insights for navigating the ups and downs of parenting teenagers. But until then, take care and happy parenting. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much if you've listened this far. I really hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful. Don't forget to never miss another episode. Please click the subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening on. As always, if you have any feedback or ideas, please do get in touch. I always love to hear from anyone who's been listening to these. You can find me at teentherapistonline.com for my website, or Facebook and Instagram. I'm Teen Therapist Rachel Martin. I will always reply, so please, if you have anything you want to let me know about or ask about, please do just get in touch. And if you're feeling really, really lovely and you're listening on Spotify, you could leave me a review, which would really mean the world to me. Once again, I'd just like to say thanks, and I hope you have a super lovely day.